Hello and welcome. Our topic for the day is finding standard deviation. Before we do want to do the some questions, let's understand the concept of the standard deviation. The standard deviation is a measure of how spread out the numbers are. Its symbol is sigma, that is the Greek letter sigma. This is how it is depicted. Now there are some steps for calculating the standard deviation, which are: first step is to work out the mean. That is, we take the simple average of the numbers, total them up and divide by the count. That will give us the mean. Then for each number, we subtract the mean and square the result. This is called the squared difference. Now what we do after that is, then we work out the average of those square differences. This is called the variance. This is depicted by sigma square. Now the standard deviation is just the square root of the variance. Whatever the value we obtain in step 3, we take the square root of that, and that will give us the standard deviation sigma. Let's understand these steps with the help of some examples. The first one says solve. Find the standard deviation of this sample of data. So our first step is we find out the mean. To find out the mean, we simply add all these numbers: 49 plus 43 plus 34 plus 53 plus 70 plus 38 plus 53 plus 45 divided by how many numbers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So divide by 8. Now this total comes out to be 385 divided by 8 gives us 48.125. This is our mean. So we write it over here again. Mean equals to 48.125. Now what we'll be doing is we'll find out the square difference. That is, let's see how we do this. That is 49 minus 48.25. We'll subtract the mean from each of the sample data given to us. So let's set it up first so that we don't make any mistake. We'll first write down all the numbers like this and then calculate one by one and then square them up, whatever the difference we get. So let's list all of them. 70 minus the mean, then 38 minus the mean, 53, and then finally we have 45. Now we'll start subtracting one by one. The first will give us 0.875. Then we square the difference, and this is 0.76. Now the second gives us negative 5.125. Square it, it becomes positive 26.26. This is again negative 14.125. Squaring it will give us 199.52. All these values we'll find out with the help of the calculator. So now we have 53 minus 48.125. This is 4.875. Squaring this would give us 23.77. The next one is 21.875. Square it and we get 478.52. For this we get negative 10.125. Squaring it will give a positive value because square of a negative number is a positive number. Then you have the last but one, 4.875. When we square it we get 23.76. And last one, 45 minus 48.125 gives us negative 3.125, and when we square this we get 9.76. Our next step is to find out the sum of all these squared differences. So we total them up and we get this as 864.87. Now we'll find out variance. Variance is nothing but sigma squared. This total divided by the count. Count is 8. This is 108.11. Then we find out the standard deviation. Standard deviation is equal to sigma equal to square root of the variance, and this will give us the answer sigma as 10.4. This is our final answer for the standard deviation. Can be seen in option B. Let's move on to the next question. Find the standard deviation of the data given to us. Now the first step is we find out the mean, total all these numbers, 189 plus 175 plus 160 plus 171 plus 161 plus 160 plus 196 divided by the count. How many it is? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. 7 is a count. Now the total of all this is 1212 divided by 7, and this we get as 173.14. This is our mean. Now we'll find out the difference and then square it. That is a squared difference. We do it now. 189 minus 173.14. This is equals to 15.86. When we square this, we get this 251.54. Then 175 minus 173.14. We'll first write down in order to avoid any mistake. We quickly list out all these statements like this. 160, and last one is 196. You can always check so that we haven't made any mistake. This is 189, 175, 160, 171, 161, 160 and 196. Now the first one we've already done. Now this would give us 1.86. Square it up and we get 3.46. 160 minus 173.14 gives negative 13.14. Squaring it, we get 172.66. First the difference, negative 2.14. Then squaring it, a positive number. Then 161 will give us negative 12.14. Squaring this would give us 147.38. 160 minus this is a negative 13.14. Squaring this would give us 172.66. And last one is 22.86. Squared gives us 522.58. Now we'll total all these squared differences, and what we get the total is 1274.86. Now we'll find variance, sigma squared, that is 1274.86 divided by the count, that is 7. This is equal to 182.12. Standard deviation is sigma, that is square root of the variance, and this when calculated will give us 13.5. This is the final answer for the standard deviation. Can be seen in option C. Let's try another question. Find the standard deviation of the data. This is the set of, let's see how many numbers, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So the count is 8. For the mean, we add up all of them, so we can quickly sum them up. 157 plus 145, 130, and the last is 152 divided by 8. Now this total is 1180 divided by 8, which is equals to 147.5. Now we'll calculate the difference and then square it up. So we have 157 minus 147.5. Let's write down all of them first. 162 minus 147.5. Then we have 155 minus 147.5. We are taking one by one from sample data and subtracting it from the mean calculated. Then we have 146, 130, and the last one is 152. Let's see if we have done total 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So the first difference is 9.5 and we square this, we get 90.25. Second one is 14.5 is the difference. Squaring this would give us 210.25. 155 minus 147.5 is a 7.5. Squaring this would give us 56.25. 145 minus the mean will give us negative 2.5. Squaring this would give us a positive 6.25. This is again negative 14.5. Square it up, we get 210.25. 146 minus the mean, that is 147.5. We get negative 1.5. Squaring up, we get 2.25, a positive number. This is negative 17.5 squared equals 306.25. 152 minus 147.5 equals to 4.5. Squaring this leads us to 20.25. Now we'll find out the sum of the squared differences. All these numbers that we just calculated, this gives us 902. Now we'll find out variance, that is sigma squared, which is equal to sum of the square differences divided by the count, that is 8. This gives us 112.75. Standard deviation sigma equals to the square root of the variance, that is 112.75 in this case, and when we calculate this, this gives us sigma as 10.62. This is the final answer, can be seen in option C. I hope finding standard deviation is easy now. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.